This did not happen in 2020. It has not happened in 2020. We'll be having other programs, public lectures on constitutions, constitution building. But this is meant for a specific to awaken all of us to know that if we are not involved, we'll be left behind. If we do not take charge of our destiny, we will be victims of blind destiny. It is now the people who should speak. That's why we are addressing you. Lawmakers have spoken. It is now your time to speak. If you do agree that the process was to move from the second reading to the committee stage so that the constitution will be scrutinized, it was not voting to adopt it, as many had thought in 2020. I was among those, I was in the national who supported that it should pass the second reading. But the objective of supporting it was not to adopt the constitution, it's to bring it so that I could scrutinize it. And that was the duty of all the National Assembly at that time, and still their duty. But this is what happened. Let me go for here. When you make a decision in the National Assembly, you cannot bring that back for consideration, just like that. As it stands, the 2024 draft is there. Is it possible to bring it back to life? Yes. Before the end of this session of the National Assembly. Because on the standing order 29, paragraph 3, when you make a decision, you cannot bring it back unless you rescind that decision. Which means that they can introduce a motion to rescind their decision. All it required for the standing orders is that whoever is going to introduce the motion will submit at the table office, your proposal of the motion to rescind the decision that they have taken. And if it is introduced within 5 clear days, they can consider the possibility of introducing that motion for a debate, and if the National Assembly members adopt it, they can revoke their decision and then move back where they were to start the process. That is possible. But if that is not done until the end of their session, then that is it. I don't want to speculate whether their session is on or it's not on. I'm telling you what the situation is. If the session ends, then we go back to our situation, where I try to introduce a motion after the end of the session, hoping, as the standing order says, that the Speaker will allow that motion, but it was not allowed. So precedents have been set in that regard. Then the motion would not be introduced, and the 2024 date is there. Then what next? What next is what Section 226 was meant for. Section 226 was not meant for wholesale transformation of our constitution. We had provision for amendment of the constitution. That is constitution building. What is required now, with images, is the executive to engage in consultation. And we all look at the 1997 Constitution and make bold recommendations for its amendment. The 1997 Constitution does not have a term limit. You can be there for eternity as long as the people come home. You can use patronage, buy votes, you can do anything which is against the law, but just to sustain yourself in power. As long as the people are in a position to report, then you can stay in power as long as you is relying on politics. Some can get frustrated and say, let's take this way. Keep on taking this, and governments may not change, but then wherever streets were taken, one does not see the ultimate consequences for public order controlled by the people whose aims and aspirations are being addressed. We don't have to become hostages. We are supposed to be free. Governments are supposed to exist for us. We are not supposed to exist just to oil the machinery with taxation. So in essence, we can amend the Constitution to introduce a term limit. There was a provision on the Section 48 of the Constitution where if you don't have 50% votes in the election, it was amended. It can really be restored by the current National Assembly without that. Because it's not essential. We need women representation, 30%. And the National Assembly members can all agree to that can be part of the amendments, where you can even have women alone elections for the 30%. Women can stand for political parties or independent candidates, but is women participating to occupy 30% of the seats in the National Assembly. That can be to ensure that this time is not just a principle being asserted. It is a law in the family. We are still moving and legislation. We can emphasize that it happens, coming with all the amendments that are necessary. Civil servants, under a decree in 1996, they could participate in election, be paid during the time of their participation, until 5 days after the election. If they lose, they go back to the 1997 Constitution, they decided to restrict their participation by demanding 1 year leave without participation. And 2020, they reduced it to 6 months. That's why I'm saying none of these documents is perfect. And this current one reduced to 6 months, and then you can see the ambiguity mentioning that you would go back to your job. A law that has ambiguity is not a good thing. So all this needed to be scrutinized. Now we can scrutinize all that. and come with a decision that will serve our purpose. So our emphasis is that as a people, whether we are part of NGOs, political parties, or the civil society organizations, religious groups, we should all fall back to our groups and engage in that discussion as to the type of amendments we need, and we formulate it, and then throw it into the public space. So that ultimately I am convinced that as UN, Pdois, AU, our partners will come to consult others. And if all of us agree that we have a point of amendments that we don't want to compromise on, this will insist must become part of the 1997 Constitution. I am convinced that our voices will be heard. On that note, I would like to say that he has been engaged in real conversation on the way forward for this nation. And we are convinced that what is missing is a national agenda. We cannot transform the nation with a partisan agenda, because all of us hold this nation together. So there is need for a national agenda, and we can convert it into a partisan agenda. So the conversation should start now. The Constitution belongs to all of us. It is designed for all parties. So it is important to all of us. Let us all work together and make it easy for our folks. Thank you. Because we actually do that Constitution. Now, the first question is related to the theme of the press conference. And no question will be accepted until that is exhausted. And for us, the question is yourself and we are also anybody want to say before? Yes?
I have a number of questions.
Introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Yusuf Taylor. I'm the editor for Askambi Media.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the press conference and for your stand in the past and currently with regards to the Constitution.
I cannot be associated with the promulgation of the Constitution. Of course, the 1997 Constitution was tampered with, I can only use the words, by a majority that created the basis for the president to dissolve the National Assembly and go to elections. But when it was originally promulgated, that was not even there. It is the National Assembly that put it there. So that is where you may have the issue of dissolution. But other than that, you cannot talk about dissolution of the National Assembly. The National Assembly sits until the day before the assumption of office of a new National Assembly, before it is dissolved. That is the language of the Constitution.
I can move on to my another question. Since that one, to be fair, since you asked, these are the statements. If the maker of the law says that he cannot make the law, then Gambia is in trouble. If the maker of the law is not ready to make the law, then Gambia is in trouble. Then dissolve your legislature. I know that it's not fit for purpose. But anyways, I will go on to my question.
No. That's the I can answer you. Yes, sir. I can answer you. You see, how you, I think you understand the English language.
Yes.
When you are interpreting any statement or sentence, you must understand the grammatical and ordinary meaning of the words and the construction of the sentence. What you are saying now, I would have said that. And I must have said that somewhere. I am in fact insisting on saying that. Because it's a means of challenging any lawmaker who is given the responsibility to craft the most important document of a country and you throw it away. What is the purpose? If you cannot make a constitution, then what other law is relevant for you to read? What is the purpose of that National Assembly? That is an existential question, philosophically coined to question those people whose responsibility it is to ensure that they move us towards having a constitution. It's a challenge. It's to them. It's not saying there is a constitutional provision that asserts that if you cannot do this, then you are dissolved. That's not the language that you have just said. But what you have said is quite correct, and that is definitely not nonsensical. That's very, very profound, philosophically coined, and is still what I maintain. If we have National Assembly members who cannot guide the nation to make a constitution, then what is the purpose? It's as good as the National Assembly. I will repeat this.
Okay, so then I think we move on that. Basically now, a lot of people have been highlighting that you came up with another recommendation, which is to, to sort of address some of the bad laws which are currently in place, the ones which are currently in place. And this has been something another option which you have mentioned since long for some of us who have been following. Do you think that's still a viable option from now until getting to the 2025 in 2026 presidential elections? Obviously, it will have to be on an entrenched clauses that don't need a referendum. Is that still a viable option? Should Parliament consider that option you consider?
Well, let's think together. Section 226 of the Constitution states that any bill for amendment entering non-entering clauses would have to be published in the Gazette for 3 months. So we're talking about 3 months. The mathematics of the law. They are no less than 10 days. 3 months, 10 days. And then a debate in the National Assembly, should it take more than a month? It took just a few days to come up with 4 sittings separately. So you can see that the delay was because they keep on postponing, but it was several times, which means that within a month you should be able to have a discussion at the National Assembly. And if it is an entering clause, then you go through the process of sending it to the Independent Electoral Commission. You must go there for that within 6 months. So within the period of 12 months, you should really be able to clearly amend what is given an entering clause in the Constitution. If you look at lawmaking, they said 6 months before elections, you should not actually start tampering with. And those are issues that you look at, the applicability even in your own jurisdiction. All these are issues that in the process of coming up with the best law, you will be able to treat. But essentially, I'm convinced that if we start now, we should be able to. But it is open for a debate. I think that issue is now coming for a debate, and I'm sure you will see our position in order for that.
Thank you so much. My name is Samuel. I have three questions. My first question would be, during the debate or during the second reading stage of the 2024 draft, most of the lawmakers who rejected this in the past, the reason that they have cited is that, especially people who were in the fifth legislature, who were with you, what they reflected on was that you were in a similar position in 2020 when you wanted the draft to pass through the second reading, and the other side, which is at the time the majority or the ruling party, did not agree to those concerns or those requests that you made to them. So now it is the reverse, where they wanted it to pass the other state, and some people were saying no to that. So the reason that they had cited was they could not trust to allow this thing to go after the second stage, because they are dealing with a majority side that cannot be trusted. And they based that on some of the past legislation or attempts to bring legislations that they rejected. You cited the need for diaspora voting, and that was introduced in the Elections Act, and they rejected that outright. And we also talk about the women representation. A bill came and there was no quorum, and most of the people in the majority were guilty of that. So they believe there is no trust to allow them to go to the next stage, because they will not need a third majority or two-third majority for any clause to be changed. And if we go there, they fear that some of the clauses that people don't want in the 2024 can be maintained. How do you reconcile this disorder?
Well, you know, opinions are opinions. So we cannot continue arguing because of opinion. It's important to understand this. Even after the community state and considerations, there is the third reading. If you can throw a bill away in the second reading, you can also throw it away anytime. So there is no way, and was no way, for NPP or the executive to impose its will on those who threw away the bill in the second reading. No way. So I don't think that argument really stands, that you don't trust them, because there was no way they could impose their will.
So you are suggesting that they should allow it to pass?
First, we understand that there was no way that NPP can impose anything on those people. I think you agree with that. Because you have the third reading, then you still need three-quarter majority. So if you can throw it away in the second reading, if you allow the process to go up to it and you see that those areas where you want them to change, they have not, why wouldn't you then reject it at the third reading? And then give an explanation why you are rejecting it at the third reading. So you understand. Number two, you see, we should not confuse two realities. The women's bill that was brought just simply took the schedule in the 2020 draft and wanted it to be transformed. And they wanted it to lead to an amendment of the 1997 Constitution. But it was flawed in many ways, because the 1997 Constitution under Section 88 already created the number of seats in the National Assembly, 53, with 5 nominations. So if you want to incorporate 14 members there, you would have to also amend that very provision. And that was not a subject of amendment. There was not an incorporation. Do you understand? So there was a flaw there. Number two, as I already shown you, even that provision had some limitations. Because number one, it did not even fit the 30% that is the order that is anticipated. Number two, the issue of disabled women have not been addressed. So it's not only that it did not pass, but there were shortcomings. You needed more consultation on that bill before being introduced in the National Assembly. So my conclusion is that the issue is not about UDP, DOE, LPP, or the NAC. It's about the Gambian people. I've lived long enough to see what happened in 1996. And the very people who were criticizing that the 1996 referendum was doctored to have a Soviet constitution. What are they going to say today? And at that material time, we were telling them decrees were monarchical instruments. And to reject the constitution meant that we were acknowledging that decrees will continue. The supremacy of the AFPRC, that it was better to have a half-hearted constitution than a full-hearted decree governing the affairs of the nation. But they were not even listening to what we were saying at that time. But it's now that people are becoming very clear on the content and see that no matter how half-hearted the content of the 1997 Constitution was, it somehow was removing the very person who came to the power of God to the power of God. So after that, what other moral authority do we have not to improve on that? And because to a future generation, an instrument that is still obvious, instrument that can be compared with the instrument of any other country on the face of the earth. Those who do not have an objective are not prepared to build a future that is fit for all of us. That's what I'm saying. We must be prepared to build a better future, a fairer Gambia, a better Gambia. If we're not ready to do that, well, that's our opinion, that's how we wish to govern, and that's how we wish to lead. So you don't blame anybody who wish to lead that way and govern that way. It's those who are governed who should now ask themselves the question, is that how we wish to go? That is the fundamental question. And that's why we are continuing this press conference. The Gambian people should go back and ask themselves the question, what do they want? What do we want? Ask. That is the question.
So, my second question, why we can Gambians will ask, what do they want? Is this the way that they want to be governed? And I want to believe that in 2016, when Gambians were going to the polls to remove Jammeh, a fundamental campaign message that the coalition was giving to Gambians was that there would be a change of the current law. It is the 1997 Constitution. And now that 8 years into that, we still have the 1997 after 2 attempts. And many people want to hold, because all of us as a nation, I want to believe, are responsible for these failures. But individually also, people have to be held or to be liable to this. And we know that constitution building starts from the top, it starts from the government, even though every political player has a tax and every citizen has a play in this. But most people blame President Barrow for these 2 attempts under his government for a new constitution to come, and it has failed. And they hold him individually also liable for these failed attempts. Would you agree to that suggestion?
I believe my words are very clear. We stake our lives to being changed in 2016. Not to share a cake. We stake our lives to build a better country. And a better country is inconceivable without a better constitution. The government failed in 2016 up to the end of the term. and we are still failing. The government still am na kàddu jigéen ñi góor yi ndaw yi ñëpp ñoo xam ne nii am nañ kàddu ca loi ba wax seen wax ñoom député yi dañoo jël loola jël di ko ñëw waxtaanee waat ci ñoom député su ko defee comité bañ sos mooy ñëw nag di rawal kàddu mais lii lañu jëlee ci askan wi ci bunte yi ci loi bunte yi de téye nañu baax bunte yi de ñoom lañ ci génne daal buñ ci sonal suñu bopp mu ngi mel ni bon su jàllee foofu député yi nag ci la ñoo doon di toog pour seet nag bunti loi bunte bu nekk suñ ko seetee dañ caa wote seet wote seet wote ba ba mu jeex lañ wote loolu nekk loi ah bon nag député yi ñooy defar loi koo yónni ci ne député yi rek xamal ne defal ka loi bon na boobu la gaa yàlla constitution nag dafa nekk lu fort mooy baati réew ci yenn wàllu moo tax ñu ne bu gannaaw boo ko defaree soo ko buggee ci bunte yi nga xam ne dafa am maana mu ngi mel ni bunte bi wane ne mënuloo am buur yaa ci suufi gàll ne nguur boo taxawal nit ñi ñoo ko war a taxawal su leen defee ñu fol ko bunte boobu soo ko buggee wëñ ci ñu ne nguur mënu koo wëñ ci nit ñi député mënuñ koo wëñ ci foog ñu am defaraat suñu àq yi pour sàmm foog nga dem defaraat yi pour laal loolu lay gis nga defaraat yi moo tax nag kuréel gi nga xam ni moom lañ sampoon dañ leen santoon ñu laal lépp moo tax ñoom kayiti éne bi ñu gis lépp la umma moo tax baati réew mi dafa wax ne su député yi demee ba wote benn ci baat yi nga taxawal ko foog ñu wote waat pour yëpp suñu wote waatee pour yëpp soo ko xaajee ñetti xaaj yi d'accord ci lañ boo yóbbu nag ñu dem référendum loolu su ñëwee ci ñun nag ñun nit ñi ñooy wote ñu ne ñu bind pour am kàttan wote yëpp foofu juróom fukki xaaj ya dem wote ñu ko may rek yàqu juróom fukki xaaj ya suñu demee wote soo leen xaajee ñetti xaaj foofu ñetti xaaj yi ne waaw d'accord nañ loolu daal di ñëw nekk parti bu bees ñu ne Gambie am na parti bu bees loolu nag mbokk yi dina gàtt fii ngeen déglu ko bu baax ñu xam li xew ak fan lañ jub CRC bi ñu defaree seen kayiti éni ñu gis ko ci néegi député yi war a seet jubluwaay bi seet ndax jubluwaay bi te am na maana mooy pour ñu war a seetaat baati réew mi nga xam ne moo fi nekk pour beesalaat te loolu dara ko ko maana ñu bàyyi nag CRC bi ñu am pour def ko mu nekk loi ñu bàyyi ko mu jàll pour député yi gis ko ci askan bi député yi ci jamono boobu dañ leen joxoon ne soo xaajee député yi ñeenti xaaj su ñetti xaaj yi waxee waaw dinañ déglu su ñetti mënul ñetti xaaj nag dinañ ko dàq bu toll ñetti xaaj bi dàq ko mel ni fa la affaire bi yàqoo ak nguur gi jëlaat mu waroon a waxtaanaat ak askan wi ñun ñëpp ñu waxtaanaat seen ay albunta ah ñoom dañ nekk rek ñu dinañ mën a defar seen kayit yi bopp ñu defar seen kayit yi bopp biñ ko gisee itam li nga xam ne moom la ci loi santaane mooy ne gannaaw ñoom dañ def seen mbiri bopp ba tey itam député yi ñoo leen waroon a wan ne soo leen defal seen mbiri bopp ba gis ko fii taxul ngeen mun ko jàll donc pour dimbale askan bi ñoo waroon nañoo fexe itam gannaaw foog mu demaat ci bunti seetaat jubluwaay ndax jàllale ko pour ñu seet bunti yi daanaka loolu moo waroon a xew ci fan yii waaye boobu tamit daaxaat mu mel ni fi mu nekk nii 2016 baati réew mañ fa fekkoon ba tey jii moo fa nekk te baat boobu war nañ leen manqué rek yi ñu leen a yëgal itam baat yi nga xam ne baati réew la nekkoon bi CRC bu nga gis dafa amoon lu ci mel bi ñu bëggoon a gis dafa am lu ci mel ñu ne bu ñu mën a gis rek ki rek xamal ne am na lu ca mel député yi ñoo war a seet manqué liggéey ñu génnee ko kon nag wax ji nekkul ñeneen dàqoon nañu bële dàqaat bi mooy ne baat boobu nga gis rek xamal ne député yi war nañ caa segg la nga xam ne mooy manqué rek ñu génnee lool léegi nag loolu xew te tey jii Gambie mu ne ni yéen jigéen ñi amul benn bunta ci baati réew mi leen jox cër yi ngeen bokk ci doxalin réew ci wàllu mbir mi bokk ci doxalin réew ci wàllu cabinet nekk fa ñu nekk ci diaspora bi itam wax nañ ne war ngeen a war waaye ni ñu ko war a déggee boobu itam nekkul ci baati réew mi fi nekk kooku lu ñëw fexe ñu gën koo dëgëral soo seetee bunte yi nga xam ne mooy taxaw ñaari yoon da doo xaabaal nekku fa juróom fukk yi gën na te amuloo ko doo mën a nekk président bi nga am wala ñaare nekku mu mel ni lii yëpp dañu war a seetaat moo tax ñun li ñoo wax mooy ne gannaaw ñoom neenal ne kii ci ay yooyu nga xam ne mënoon nañoo yóbbu ci loolu fan lañ jëm fi mu nekk ñu ne gannaaw bunte ñaar fukk ak juróom may nañu doole bexe pour ñu mun a soppi li nga xam ne mooy baaxi loolu bon nag lii amatul parti nañ ni ñun doomi Gambie gannaaw baax suñu baax nañ door waxtaan yi doomi réew mooy waxtaan yi ñu seetaan baat bi nga xam ne moo fi nekk te am ay manquité yoo xam ne mun nañ koo beesalaat ndax àddina naw ku nekk wax sa xalaat lan nga bëgg mu beesalaat su ko defee ñu boole loolu yëpp mu nekk benn xalaat ñu teg ko ci loxo nguur gi teg ko ci loxo député yi su ko defee nguur gi seetaan bu gaaw naka la ñu gisee dina kayiti boo xam ne dina ëmb yooyu ndax mun a beesalaat baati yi fa lii mooy suñu kàddu mel ku maayaat wala mu kaa kanam nga kaw kabrin bam ko parente 26 xam nga métti ka jama marawo ki jama marawo be yalo ko ka kala kati marawo pour mun kam ka bangol mara kalo ka ko si ka ala shakko ka ko si ka ko si ka ke ko ne ke ko si tama ganya bundalu ko mbiri alongo bisa kutuke ndo na sebati ko sadi sabo ko Gambie kuto do la bam ko la maral kuto do la isa ko mo dunta ta ko ko ni ngi ko tambo amake wo nyaawo nya yella he mun ko han ko bi bam ko la maral kawo nsa kuto ko te ye CRC le lolu pour asitama kata min ya ɗon ko e siñomo kata ñoya pour kalo muɓɓuddalde ɓe mbaɗal kamo ko mi sine bonɗino muɓɓuddalde mi sine fen kafumoɗe yele commencé ɗon o kawa ya naati ɗo mo e ko pour loi yeddata banko kan siloɗa ay wo siloñenta kala mudalade mum silole ɓe bankole maran kamo ko alka député tombo pour député loi dada wala kendi ka loi dada aka follow hamole la ikamen hambe ika wala safe wala ke agare ka mo bir ka wala safe ay hambe kay wo hambe kay ko ni ya na député mo be ya lo enes president of Bundato minister Mursa Natino sila hamba kay to nati ibide para ay ibide mo para ay kafo so committee so mo para sila hamba kay to nati mo tere na ibide para sila hamba kay to hamba kay to kana wonya ibide mo na funada adunta ku follow wani kalon kowa hammu a cikin madaban wani amince da ni kudin na biya muni ya kan yi ka hammu ji da fara bawo ruwa buka da da kense ikan ruwa da da buka kan bai ikan ruwa da da buka bani mun bani kan ikan ruwa da da buka ko sabatin gawo abeda ikan ruwa da da buka wani nadi ko da mai woto ikan luar dada kuleka wala mu purpose wala yakin ni na bakula maral kamwe dem fo dipide na do ko follow wala mu ka hamu gibe fo wala mu ka purpose hamu gibe misali ko dem 1997 constitution ay ko jama ko muso la kala pada abang yakin bahwa abang bunda sama terlibat misalnya untuk ni ko bangko dan barang kamu hanya terfalinda boleh dari mulut anda kamu boleh fokus boleh dari mulut boleh dari jibil semua dari lomba barat pun gunakan tak perlu main boleh yakin ni dipilih kedua forum mulai sih boleh sekor ni wala mu ka hammu jibe fo ka kos funin aya da mal ba min son ko wala da mal na ke da constitution la hamma kay ko folo e ko ni e de mo tala sidula dal sidula sabab ko e ko ha ni kay hammu asenya tan ko bunda lembida anyanta balale nyanta ni kuta kuta yenda ye kambe mo kunola woye kan sibayo ko wo kambe te se ko ni akata min to akata committee wo committee wala do ko munet ka kosi ka dum wo ko ke ni ka kan mulla miraya sunyai kanun munanya sola munya na ke constitution ni ini kiolo de ini ka ini ya ko punya ini ka ada ya ko punya ini ka musul funin kilo mungkin dia miraya for wala mo committee state ni mo kacha ke ko seria de ya longo mulla hamu itata ni bunda bero ikaw mo dipite mo ko kela ni ko ina kiba reso mo kali ni ya ko kacha na banta amun ko ye dipite be kiba yandi ko ye mulla hamu lo mulla bero ya bawo ni de ku tamalila mulla daba nda mo la mi realo ni ko lu ma da mo hakki ken wala ya ke da nyama sa mo ko en ta ma no mo ta ni ko demokrasi ba do ni ko ka fu ka ta sa ya mo to ko député be membe ji ya no mo no ko da alors sai isi ta le wa da ibe o hamma kay to ta wala mo consideration ibe na la ko le ka lo muta ka hamma kay to ta bunda ka kosi ka dole ka kosi ka dole ka fubbe ba son ben wala kat laage ay champion ci mais ya longo sani ibetala ka no wuri di mata ay ta gari na tammi de na ke ko ci fidote ya sambara faran ni ya sambara faran ibe ko ki ba yen de lay même projet des anglais ko mo de ko de jibena botelal ni yeta kala sidula kebe forsi dula tangulu ya wato ke jani wato barka forsi dula tangulu fa ni wato ni yeta kala sidula nan forsi dula saba ya songo wo mu ba kembal ni ko ka ken bari folo kafo mellon ko ay hambe kay ko da wana de zugo ina ka ko 2020 pour que wo hamma kay to ala tanilo ka jibe ka force ka kaja ya ba ni fada na ka fada ya ba ko même ko sai habba Bangola Barankai. Member since 1997. Saint-Mont Alinsi. Yes. I'm also having I want to put it for week. For Bangoli will get the seal of road to Ujide. Well, a poor fair no big day, maybe I don't know. It's happening to pay. Ni kaca daga nakawar ko marar kan da lobe kuruna amake pati fasi amake musu amake kibuti lobe da ta ayi da lobe da ta wato lobe da kaca ka yi wani yadda kelaje kuna doctrine. And you will be for it. Killing. How do you make it? Bao Nigeria. Hey, I want to do my one year. Nisi the side life. Ya friend, about Gano, Benyamin, one year. Bangura, Nisi the side life. Yegola, about Ulu utama ni ya Pdois. Ulu ya ni Bangola Baraka. Amen tadi. Ni botela antara sidula kene ni kan ulu enen kiliman me mamoje. Isi o ma friend. Ulu sidulu. Muso fara ni ko ta ita fini ni usul boko. Ta ha ulu ayeke kan ko. Ayeke santo ya. Ba ko ne ba kela no watch so watch da do ay do ko ci do ko di ko ko kan do dem ko kan ne dem ba ni ya tala si la ko si la ken ay ci mo so na ni aw ko la ka na ne mo men gambi do men ba ta fa fo na ke constitution ko ay sabati ko ila hako bangubila hako mumba munyala yo wote wakela ndio ndio nyante ni bila cross kile wote ni aki ndio matendo ni civil society ko kafo ko ni bila kutime ya ndo anya kajana ba ni wote ila kafo so ni kajana ya jini fen gollemba yurallemba fen gorlemba sellemba ku woni ala ite fe min si bangola maraka mo kuto kutayani ya dum ni rawo ko so ndol be na dum wero ko person ko ni me jata tam e banana ko le da yende na hotina e na ni ya ko nya de mo mo de be ko gammi ko la tamene wala ni sani dafa ne ka bar wala ay ni kamar ya ka danye nga xam ne tey doon naa juuna nga ñu mbee toll foofu la bokk amutu ko nii ngaa tàmbali ceeb ba ko taa la niyo ba mu ko sola ina hakol ila niyo ni ba ko kami dulu saya kamu kami ini ada kamera ya kami dulu ada kami dulu kerja itu punya kekuatan dan ada lagi mulai kawal ya banyak kami dulu kausuk bangku pakai kausuk buat itu mulai kami dulu koma buat itu mulai paham dulu koma buat itu mulai koma Punga tonya lo, pahamu ni na soto, ndode na songo, pahamu lo tonya na kamdo wata, bambosi na songo.
Is there still an opportunity? Can I ask the last question, please?
Bless.
Just go ahead and speak. Just go ahead and speak. Can you go
So question
can you please keep quiet, let us speak, and let us do our press conference? Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mari to the Elis Parliamentary from the Honorable Ngapoko Coalition Basis for this name jam. I'm the reasons you got. Their reasons why they are why I found to buy us to get so there was to way back to the way. Though you don't want to coalition go. You never beer, you just need us to not to one. For that, you are going to be a chocolate. Whatever they want, get some more detail in the much money. Focus to the president. Whatever may be jumping there could be as a person, why better family would jump in. Problem okay, fail majority of Gambians believe in the coalition with 16 of the majority of the Gambians believe. So the thing is, that young as a political party board, I'm not going to very full form explanation for this giving good of it that can end up a war as can. That can be legal one as can be. Definitely. No noise man.
Now, so let's take it over. The we will go together. Not the left part of you. You know, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk to you. If you don't tell me, we will know. They can come askan bi moom lañ war a seet seet li ñu ko ci moom ñu ko am ci li ma la mën a wax mooy am na ñun li nga xam ne ñooy doy te duggoon ci mbir mi séddoo place taxutoon nañu ko ci néeg xaajaaroo njëriñ taxutoon nañu ko ci néeg ñun solo réew moo taxoon ñu ko ci gis nañ ne ñu jël réew ci 1994 dañ ko def ak seen bopp waaye yooyu ñu bëggoon ci